there, everybody. It's Dave from Vikings First and SKOL, and we are live at the 2-minute warning. Time to hit the roll in. Welcome to Vikings First and SKOL's live at the 2-minute warning. Next. Hey there, everybody. Dave here once again on the final weekend, the final game of your Minnesota Vikings 2025 season. And we have what looks to be a win, which is cool. Now, I want to welcome everybody who's in the chat already. We got Chevy, we got Raymond, we have Edwin, we have Chuck, Peter, Anthony. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Christopher. Yep, you got that right. All right. Now, Packers have the ball. We're inside 2 minutes. They just round Wilson around the left side. Oh, well, no biggie. As long as the defense can hold the Packers to a goose egg. Ham's getting his flowers right now from the sidelines and the fans. That's cool. That is cool. And the coaches. Nick's 36. If Hitman calls it a career, I hope he stays around as a coach. It would be nice, but I don't think he's going to do that, as in stay around as a coach. He may call it a career, but I don't know about that. And there we go. Packers completed a pass. Oh, well. My 2 cents worth. Yo, how you doing? Steven, how are you doing? That game rammed home that the Vikings need to sign a proper QB competition. Well, I have my own theories on that. We'll get into them, I'm sure. Look at Ham before retiring in the hugs, yes. Come on, defense. Come on, pace. Pull him down a little bit sooner. Wilson got close to the first down. If not, he's got it. Which is not good, but oh well, oh well, oh well, oh well. It is. There's 1:03 left. Packers have the ball in the Minnesota 14. And they keep handing it off another 2 yards. Christopher says the Augustana hammer's done. I believe you're right, unfortunately. Chuck says it looks like he'll be retiring, most likely. Mario Player says, if Flores leaves, do we move Hitman into his position? He is a Zimmer and Flores stud. I would be cool with that, but I don't know if Hitman would be cool with the 18-hour days, all the time taken. Nor do we know that he's ever formally coached. Not that it's necessary. But it's great question. 28 seconds left to hold out the shutout. Let's see if the defense can do it. If Flores leaves, the Vikings will regress into a full rebuild. We'll see, Chris. We'll see. Absolutely, we'll see. Come on. All right, here we go. Packers are at the Minnesota 10. Ball is snapped. And he's going to throw it. And, that was deflected by us. Number 98. That's good. Peter, you heard Hitman's going to retire. He's probably going to be an ambassador for the team. That's probably I could see that. And it sure looks like with way Minnesota Vikings.com has been pumping Hitman, it looks like this is his last game. All right, we got to run. Stop him. Stopped at the 6. 14 seconds. 12. All right, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, they called a timeout? No, they didn't. Or yes, they did. With 1 second left. It's going to go for a field goal? What? Why? Yes, going for a field goal with 1 second left. Green Bay. Wussies. Why they have to do this, why McManus has to do this. Hopefully we block it. It would be great to see. Yes, Bo. So Myles Garrett ties Jared Allen's sack record. And it's good. No donut for Beeflo, just 3 points. All right. Final score is your Minnesota Vikings 16, Green Bay Packers 3. Vikings win, Vikings win, Vikings win. Again, the final score was Minnesota 16 and the Packers 3. The 2025 season has come to an end, my friends. And it's we're going to have a long time before 2026 fires up in full when we have real football. Now, there's going to be tons of news between now and then, and we're going to cover it all here at Vikings First and SKOL. That I can guarantee you. So, all Vikings fans know 69, as in Jared Allen, holds the real sack record. Yes. Edwin, emotional day for Smith, Ham, love them. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. You got to love them. Now, on my original notes, I asked, can Justin Jefferson reach his 1,000-yard milestone to be only the third player to do it in his first 6 seasons? Well, he did. That is a good thing. He had 101 yards today receiving, and before he was pulled out. Asked if C.J. Ham could get another touchdown. He did, which is a good way to send him off if he chooses to retire. I agree with you, Christopher. The field goal was pointless, but we'll see. Now, joining me is my partner on Saturdays, and once the playoffs are over, Sundays, Darren Campbell. Darren, what did you think of that victory final game we had just witnessed?
Well, pretty boring overall, but there were some nice moments there, right? Certainly with the Hitman and the CJ Ham things at the end of it. We don't know what their futures hold, but it seemed like the way the Vikings handled Hitman, calling the timeout when they did, and letting him soak it up in the crowd, recognizing him, and the same thing with CJ Ham, that it sure seems like they must be done, which is a sad time for Vikings fans, I think, particularly with Hitman. But CJ Ham's been a long-serving, unsung guy too. So, if this is it for them, they were, I really appreciated them as Vikings and what they did for the team. But I feel like Hitman in particular has more to give, but maybe he doesn't feel that he does, and he's the guy that makes that decision. So we'll see. Yesterday we kind of talked about how, even though you're playing the junior varsity Packers, especially on defense, and on offense, like, what did you want to see out of JJ McCarthy? And I said it was important for him to play really well. I thought, even if it's not against the true Packers defense, I thought they did throw some things at him defensively. Like they were blitzing, and they were, trying different games up front, and he faced some pressure. But, I thought it was kind of a typical McCarthy game, aside from he didn't throw an interception. There were some good things. There were some bad things. And in the end, he got injured and he couldn't finish the game.
I don't know if he got injured. He was injured, and it started bothering him. Yeah.
But, another case where he couldn't finish the game. And that was a part of the story of this season for him, unfortunately. And it's been the story of his short 2-year career so far, his health. You talked about it, Dave, online. We heard it from Adam Archuleta during the game, and Matt Ryan at halftime talking about how McCarthy needs to settle down. When he gets his feet settled and he looks calm in there, he throws. There's some nice passes. That bullet he threw to Ben Sims, that's a great throw. The throw he got to Jalen Naylor was a great throw just a few passes before that. But then there's that, like Drew calls the full tilt boogie stuff, where you can see his feet getting all messed up. He was too amped up early in the game, and it leads to off-target throws and decisions that, bad decisions by him, off-target throws and throws that end up potentially being interceptions when they shouldn't be. So a lot for him to work on. This wasn't really the performance I was looking for from him, but I'm not really surprised by it either, because he kind of played the way he's played all year, which is to say some good and some bad, and a lot of questions for the Vikings with McCarthy going into the offseason about what do you do with him? Well, you know what you do with him in the offseason, but what can he improve at a level where he can play acceptable level of quarterback play in 2026 that helps the Vikings win games, and they're winning games because of him, sometimes not in spite of him.
Okay. Jonas, welcome back to the show, my friend. What did you think of the game?
I mean, on the surface, it wasn't a fun football game to watch. Obviously, you like to see the Vikings beat the Packers, even though it was completely meaningless. I mean, in the end, I think it's all about CJ Ham. It's all about Harrison Smith today, who it looks like had their last games as Vikings. I mean, it's not a coincidence which jersey I picked today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that was a smart selection.
Yes.
I actually just got it this year. I bought it in Dublin when I was there for the week 4 game. Was it week? It was week 4. Wasn't sure about that. I bought it there, and obviously, it looks like it was his last season. And if it was his last season, it definitely was a good one. And I think that's all you can wish for, to just have one last good season, to go out on a high note. Not as a team, obviously, we would have liked him to go out in a season which would have been more successful than this one was. But on an individual level, Harrison Smith is still a very good player. And I mean, I like it if players go when they are still good. I don't want to see him suck someday.
And we'll get a super chat from Too Evil to Hope saying McCarthy should be sweeping up after games, not playing in them. I think we want a good draft pick for the 2027 draft, so McCarthy might go 0-17. We'll see. Now,
go ahead, Dave.
I asked a question in our individual chat, and I'm curious what the fans think, that all during the preseason, we were pumped up and gaslit by the beat writers, Matthew Collard, Judd Zulgad, and everybody else, Dane Mizutani, and everybody, that how good J.J. McCarthy actually looked. Well, and then we get to game 1, and he looked overhyped, and he looked horrible until the 4th quarter, where the 3 touchdowns and came back and we won. And then after that, he just downhill until the coaches said, we're not going to try to fix him. We're just going to let him go play. Then he actually started playing better. I want to know what went wrong between the preseason and the actual start of games. And is it a coaching issue, i.e. his quarterback's coach not developing him properly?
I think What happened was that the games actually started and they weren't playing practices and joint scrimmages, and a NFL game with defenses game planning for you and all the starters in and throwing everything at you is a lot different than a joint practice or your own scrimmages against your own team. So I think that you're right, Dave. And Collar even said, I remember him in one of his mailbag things about how when he got asked this question, that he said, well, he did look good. I did see him look good in practices this year. That's why I wrote that. So, they were seeing good things, but what you see in practice, again, doesn't always translate into the games, especially with the younger players. And yeah, but the Vikings misread the situation heading into the regular season about how ready McCarthy was.
I think mostly they miscalculated that they could develop his mechanics on the fly during the season. I think when they lost last season because of the injury and weren't able to work on those mechanics, they just thought in order to get the timetable that they envisioned before, to get that back on track, that they would do it on the fly and maybe that would work out. And it obviously didn't. I think from a mental standpoint, when it comes to reading defenses, like he's still a young QB, but he's functional there. I would say that. I think their mistake was just thinking that they could fix the other thing in season, and that's just nothing that you fix in season, and therefore they fell on their face doing it, and it just didn't work out, and they realized it probably too late, and that's that.
Yeah, I see Tyler's biting his lip, ready to join us. Tyler, go ahead.
So I disagree with the notion that the Vikings misjudged the situation as far as like McCarthy's readiness. I think the way to frame it is more, it wasn't that he wasn't ready. I think they didn't expect as many ups and downs because of everything that they'd seen. And he's not a rookie. He's a first-time starter, but he's not a rookie. And I think one of the big things was they expected him to adjust a lot more to the speed of the game than he did. I don't think it was a readiness perspective. I think if there's any real way to criticize it, it's they thought the GoPro was kind of a cure-all. They thought the VR stuff was going to be able to get him a lot more acclimated to the speed of the game, because he wasn't making like egregiously bad decisions. He was just slow. And that's something that everybody deals with. I think my biggest criticism was they did make a lot of adjustments, but they were a little slower to do so than I think all of us would have wanted. I saw people were in my mentions all day today saying that the Vikings failed JJ McCarthy by playing him. No, you fail him by benching him. They didn't build this roster to be a Super Bowl contender right now. They built it to insulate a first-time starting quarterback as much as humanly possible. But they expected McCarthy to be about quarterback 20, which it's a bottom third quarterback in the league, which is fine. But this offense was the worst in EPA per play the Vikings have had since the turn of the century. It was historically bad. That's something that it doesn't matter how much you have on the outside. It doesn't matter that you have superstar wide receivers, top 5 tight end, an offensive line that on paper is one of the best in the league, a defense that's elite. It doesn't matter all of that if your quarterback plays like marzipan's poop that she just laid outside a half hour ago, So it's a super layered conversation that most people don't want to actually engage in, which is why I like this group, because everybody's willing to actually engage in the real conversation, which is JJ McCarthy has shown a lot of good, but he continues to show you that it's like, okay, do we really want to put our faith in this guy? Do we really want to move forward with him? I'm not convinced that he's the guy. I do concede that if you give him 2 more years, He may absolutely flourish and become the superstar a lot of people want him to be, but there is no concrete evidence that anybody can share with you that says this guy is unquestionably the future of this franchise. And to me, that's the most frustrating part of this whole conversation. We're 2 years in. We have 10 games of sample size. He's left 2 of them with injury. He's missed 25 others with injury. And in 12 games that he's suited up, he has suffered 5 injuries, and he re-aggravated another. So 6 games where he suffered some form of injury or aggravation. That's bad. And that's where, if I'm the Vikings and I really want to move on, if that's the path they choose to go, I look at Kevin O'Connell's comments that where organizations fail young quarterbacks for young quarterbacks fail organizations. And I think you can look at it and say J.J. McCarthy has failed the Vikings because he cannot stay healthy. Some of that is blatantly his fault. And Dave, you and I have talked about it extensively on the Real Forno Show. Some of it's not. It's just the cost of doing business, playing in the pocket, because your hand is going to hit helmets. It's just a fact of life. But it's a really frustrating element that we have to even be here discussing it, because we just watched Sam Darnold win a 14th game and a division title and clinch the number 1 seed in the NFC last night. The Vikings wanted to keep him. Darnold wanted to be the unquestioned guy. And the Vikings weren't willing to trade J.J. McCarthy, which I think is a completely fair and fine strategy. But to say that the Vikings didn't want to have another guy in the room, they didn't want to have Daniel Jones or Sam Darnold, to me is completely disingenuous. This whole situation just blows dick. It's terrible. It's awful. And there really is no one person that you can put at fault. I know I'll end with this because I don't want to make this a formal soliloquy. But the one thing that really stands out to me, and you guys mentioned it as I was jumping on, is the coaching point. I think we need to have a serious conversation about Wes Phillips and Josh McCown being scheme lords and not being great developers. And I would find a guy who's a great quarterback developer and get his ass in here. Because I don't think he'll ever leave Green Bay. I actually think he might be retiring.
He's retired.
Yeah. Get somebody in here who's more of a developer, and then have your OC be the scheme lord. That's what I want. Kevin O'Connell can only do so much because he's going to be super involved, but he can't be involved like people will paint the picture that he's involved. He's just not. He has an entire team to run. He has to schedule. He has to plan. He has to game plan. He has to manage the game. He has to consult with what the defense is doing. He has to consult with special teams. There's just too much on his plate for him to be that in the weeds of quarterback development. He has to have a quarterback coach that does that. Quite frankly, I don't think we have that in Josh McCown. And that's not to say he won't be a great coach, but it's not what this team needs right now. They need a developer, and I don't think he's it.
Did you watch SKOL bloggers from yesterday?
I did not. I've been binging work stuff because I have to leave the house right after this show.
I even brought up that you've said we've got too many scheme lords and not enough developmental coaches on the roster.
Yes. Also, speaking about the scheme, I think we're going to have some serious conversations about Wes Phillips. I think there are so many things wrong with this offense that, I mean, a lot of it came down to the QB, but not all of it. And this offense obviously, in many ways, didn't make it easy for Brosma or for McCarthy to settle in. And I think the roles are kind of similar to what the Rams do. Wes Phillips is the one who mostly cooks up the plays. He's probably the one who delivers basically the menu for the game, and O'Connell is calling it. And that's the way the Rams have always done it, and that's obviously the way O'Connell knows, and because of that, he's doing it that way. And I think because of that, a lot of those things that just made this offense look just not functional this year in some points can be pinned down on the offensive coordinator, not having the offense do stuff that they can accomplish, that they can execute, and I wouldn't rule it out that they might let go both of them, McCown and Wes Phillips. I think the Vikings could have new coaches at both positions.
Mm-hmm. I want to answer this question in the chat quick. Brian asked if I think the same about Darrisaw as I do McCarthy. Well, Darrisaw is a little bit injury prone. I don't think that's necessarily unfair. But here's the difference. Darrisaw is a top 3 left tackle in football. JJ McCarthy right now is a bottom 3 starter in the NFL. If JJ McCarthy gets to a level close to Darrisaw, I think we deal with it. And that's where we can talk about, which I'm sure we will, the Joe Burrow discussions. Because if you're going to trade for Joe Burrow, you have to be okay with the fact that every other year he has a serious injury that keeps him out for like at least 7 games. But the difference is when he plays, he's an MVP candidate. He's not going up and down. That's the discussion. And with Darrisaw, it's kind of the same thing. He borderline plays at a Pro Bowl, All-Pro level all the time when he's on the field. You're willing to deal with, he has a concussion, he's out for 2 games. He sprained his knee, he's out for 3. The ACL just sucked, and I think from an outside perspective, I think the Vikings mishandled it, and that's why they had to shut him down. But the talent and ability and what he does on the field is 100% there. It's not with McCarthy yet. That doesn't mean it won't be. It's not.
And who are you replacing Darrisaw with at this point? You're going to have to draft a left tackle in the first round to replace him if you move on from him because you consider him too injury prone and he can't stay on the field. You're not going to run Justin School out there or some other journeyman swing tackle to hold you over, especially if you're trying to keep JJ McCarthy developed and upright and nice and secure in the pocket. So I'd keep Darrisaw. I think, he's had trouble staying on the field. He's missed a couple of games here and there every season. This was, and the last 2 have not been great. But again, if he's healthy, he's top 10, top 5 left tackle in the NFL, and those are tough to find.
Well, actually, Darren, you're going to play left tackle.
I did.
Go ahead, Jonas. You've been trying to talk for a couple minutes.
Just one thing off topic. The Falcons just beat the Saints, so we actually get this super weird 3-way tie in the NFC South, and the Carolina Panthers just won the division despite losing yesterday.
Thanks to Kirko Chains.
Yes, I said Kirko would be deciding it, and he did.
So
yes,
funny.
Davey, I've got Vikings PTSD.
Maybe Bijan Robinson was actually the one that decided it. I wasn't really following the game closely, but
well, I saw a bunch of clips of Kirk hitting receivers when he should, standing in the pocket and gunning it as he could gun it.
So Vikings back up 2026.
You want to hear something really funny? I need to pull this up quick because it's one of the craziest stats, and it's off topic again, but it's funny. If the Giants win today, they'll be 8-30 in their last 38 games. 4 of those 8 wins will have been in week 17 or 18 when they're long eliminated from playoff contention and only playing for draft position. Just hilarious stuff.
And did the Giants beat the Cowboys?
They did.
Yes, by 17.
Whoa.
I'm assuming they took Prescott out at some point because they were up 17 to something at some point in time, but didn't end up that way.
I wasn't paying attention to the game, but I know the Texans pulled out C.J. Stroud when the Jaguars took a huge lead on the Titans. They're like, we're a wild card team. Keep them healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And now that game is going to be crucial for Vikings draft position because the Vikings will clinch the 18th pick in the draft with a Texans win. And the Texans, There's 17 seconds left, and they're inside. They're at the Colts, 25-yard line, it looks like. So, yeah, it's looking like the Vikings will be picking 18th. Which is very funny, and it will make all the right people mad.
Who are the right people?
Oh, I'm not going to comment on that. I'm not getting myself in any more trouble. I get myself in too much as it is. But
Oh, come on, Tyler.
I think it's great that the Vikings won 5 games in a row.
Let's accomplish something out of this meaningless Sunday of Vikings football. Let's get you in trouble.
They won 5 games in a row. I think that fucking rules.
That's true.
I'm sorry. It's great for like momentum into the year. It's great for your culture. Hey, we were eliminated from the playoffs and we still rattle off a bunch of wins because this is who we are. We're going to try and win every game. That sends a good signal outside of the building. When it comes to NFLPA survey, they're going to see that and they're going to see the Vikings. And hey, maybe that is a convincing factor with a free agent that's deciding between 2 spots. You just never know. Having that kind of good culture is a good thing. And if it means the Vikings have a slightly worse draft spot, I don't care.
And the Texans just won, by the way.
They made the field goal.
Yep. 132.
There are 12 seconds left, as far as I see. Or am I behind again?
No, it's 12 seconds left is what I'm showing.
I also want to. I didn't mention right off the jump, but I do want to commend Kevin O'Connell and the staff for and the players of the Vikings keeping things together when they were 4-8 and the season was just in the shitter. And I'm talking about, are they going to win a game again this year? And they rattle off 5 straight. So that again shows the culture. It shows your players didn't quit. They got the right stuff. That is impressive. I don't think that, and I don't think it will get lost, but you can't negate the fact that this season was a huge disappointment. The Vikings are getting the playoffs 1 year, miss on a year or 2 years, and then get back in. We're the every now and then team. We're not playing with the big boys. Or we want to get to the spot where we're the Buffalo Bills, the 49ers, the Eagles, the Ravens until this year, where you're making the playoffs every single fucking year and you're a legit Super Bowl contender. And we aren't there yet. So kudos to Kevin O'Connell, but he's on the hot seat in 2026. The whole organization is.
One quick nugget
with this team.
One quick nugget for anybody who's into sports betting. The Vikings over under, I think for most bookies was at 8.5.
Yes.
And therefore, I hope that when the Vikings were 4-8, people who bet the over didn't rip up their bets tickets, because the Vikings hit the over.
Yes, they did. A friend of the show, Thor, he was talking about how he had the over and he was going to win good amount of money.
I have absolutely no idea why the Colts brought out the kickoff to return it and take so much time off the clock. They burned 7 seconds with a return out of the end zone, which got them to like the 20 or 25, which they could have just taken a knee because it was deep in the end zone and had 12 seconds to work with at the 35. What a bad decision.
My guess is they just decided, you know what? It's probably best to try a return versus Riley Leonard trying to throw the ball all over the place. If that was the strategy, it feels very stupid, but I think it's understandable.
I'm
who
not sure
returned
about
it though? Who returned the kick? I'm on ESPN. Let's find out. Ashton Doolin. Oh, yeah, that's not serious. If it was like Jonathan Taylor, okay, yeah, that's fine.
Darren, did you see the comment by Shane? He says you are annoyed with this season as he is.
Yeah, no, I did see that. So I think a lot of people are, and the quarterback situation is what needs to get settled, figured out, resolved for that to happen for the most part.
And we have a big man touchdown for the Texans because
fumble return.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Let's go. Kevin O'Connell
Tommy Togai.
O'Connell just spoke about McCarthy. He had a little soreness in his hand, and the Vikings wanted to get him out of the game as soon as they recognized it.
Well, I think
he pulled himself out.
He was motioning to the sideline just before that, saying, "Take me out, take me out, take me out." I'm
just telling you what Gessling tweeted about.
Okay,
what Kevin O'Connell said.
Now,
I know we all saw that.
Did you all notice all the smoke being blown over Brian Flores? Should be a head coach, the number one head coach candidate in this offseason.
Yeah, I think the only team that'll realistically talk to him is the Raiders, because it's Tom Brady. Brady knows him, so we'll see.
I think the Titans could be another spot, because maybe they just want to replicate what Vrabel did there. Maybe they just want to get back to that. So I don't know.
So I think your theory is really good, Jonas, but every board that's come out, Flores isn't on it.
Well, and that's what's interesting. Nobody has Flores.
And there was that long Intel article that Dan Graziano and Jeremy Fowler put together. There was not a single mention of the Vikings in that article, meaning by theory, KOC is safe, Kwesi is safe, and Brian Flores is not a head coaching candidate. Well, obviously, anything can happen and things can change, but especially considering Jeremy Fowler is a former Vikings beat writer and has really LinkedIn sources with this organization, I thought that stood out in a big way.
I have not seen anything in The Athletic, ESPN, anything when they talk about coaching candidates. Flores has not been mentioned one time. Not once.
Crazy.
I think I have seen him mentioned a few times, both on NFL Network and I think I saw a list today by I don't remember who the beat writer was, but there was a list that did have him on it as a head coaching candidate. Like, I would be shocked if he doesn't get interviews. He will get interviews, but I'm not sure he will get the one of the jobs, and I think it will highly depend on how many openings are there.
Well, the one thing that you saw, Jonas, were people saying he should be a candidate versus the ones that I've seen where they're saying they're talking to insiders who aren't mentioning Flores at all. That's a little bit different.
Yeah, but that was something like that. That was a list based off sources.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that should work in his favor is that I think, and many have mentioned it, this isn't like the most appealing class of potential new head coaches. Like, if you look at the list, like, who's really on there that's like, oh, he's the next big thing. Like, on most occasions, you had certain candidates that everybody was all over. Like last year with Ben Johnson, obviously. This year, it's really tough. There are not many big name candidates out there, and this, I think, is the one part where Brian Flores could stand out, because if it wasn't for the lawsuit, he probably would be that guy. Now, obviously, you can already rule out one potential destination, one potential team that's looking for a head coach, which is the Giants, because the Giants are the second team in his lawsuit next to the Dolphins. So they ain't going to be on his list.
Yep.
Even if they would have the audacity to ask for an interview with him, I don't think Brian Flores would take that, since he's suing that organization. I think I'm not sure if it's 50-50, but it will highly depend on how many openings actually get open, because right now, what do we know? Like, the Giants is open, but that's basically ruled out. The Titans is open, would make sense, but he wasn't on any of the lists that beat reporters put out there so far. There were a lot of openings like Arizona, the Falcons, the Steelers, where today the reporting was, okay, those coaches are probably safe. And then, like, what's left? The Raiders, probably the biggest threat at this point. The Browns, maybe? Although this seems like a 50-50 situation at this point. Yeah.
Steelers, if
Yeah, but reporting today was that expectation is Tomlin is still going to be the coach. Obviously, an embarrassing loss today and them missing the playoffs could change that, but
I think the
Well,
only
it's
thing
up
that
to
changes with
Tomlin whether he
Tomlin
wants
is
to-
Tomlin decides I'm done.
yeah,
I don't
if he
think the
decides-
Roots are canning him.
Yeah.
But the reporting was from Diana Rossini, which especially with how her Viking stuff went last summer, I take it with a grain of salt. She said that they had looked into Marcus Freeman with the contingency being Marcus Freeman being the Notre Dame head coach, if Tomlin chooses to step away. So they're doing their homework, and being that they're doing their homework, if Tomlin chooses to step away, that to me says a little bit more than like a potential firing could, because Tomlin just may be done. He's been doing the same job for 19 years in the NFL. That's an eternity. But it's also the Steelers. They're just they're weird in a good way. It also kills them.
But Notre Dame coach is returning to Notre Dame. He's already said that.
Oh, I know. But this was the reporting that came out Saturday that there was a lot of teams are looking into Freeman. People think Freeman's coming. So when? We'll see. But I gotta take off because I've got a bunch of work to do. But I wanted to say this. Justin Jefferson has the funniest stat I think of all time. He has 3 100-yard receiving games this season. 2 of them are in Europe. 2-0 with 100-yard receiving games in Europe. 1-14 with 100-yard receiving games in the United States of America. Very funny stat.
But he's only the third player to start off 6 consecutive
Yes, he is.
seasons over 1,000.
I just thought it was hilarious that he has 2 in Europe and only 1 in the U.S. Just
so
very coincidental.
we can rephrase it a little bit. At the majority of his 100 yards games this year, I was present.
That's very true.
You're the key, Jonas. You're the key.
All right. Jonas, we need to get you at all 8 or 9 Vikings home games next year.
Somebody is ready to pay for that?
You're ready.
Oh, no, I'm not. I wish I was, but I'm definitely not.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Now, we did
gotta head
secure
out.
the
I've
third place schedule. There's
Whatever. Like, really, you know who you're facing every year. Like, you're playing your divisional opponent 6 games.
Right.
You're playing the NFC, one of the NFC conferences, 4 games next year. You're playing the AFC East, I think, next year, 4 games. So it means 3 games that you would be playing.
I can tell you the 3 games offhand. It's you're going to face the Colts instead of the Titans. You're going to face it's either going to be it's not the Cardinals because they're 4th place. It's either going to be the Rams or the 49ers. And then in the AFC, I think I already said the Colts. You're going to face this. You're going to face the Falcons.
I don't know. I guess it does matter in some ways because
No, it's the command. You're going to face the Commanders instead of the Giants.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
If you're 1 or 2 games could cost you a playoff spot, I guess, or a divisional title. So, and if you're playing 4th place schedule as opposed to a 3rd place schedule, I guess it does. But you don't know how teams are going to be from one year to the next either.
Mm-hmm. Let's frame it this way, and then I'm out of here because I have work to do.
Did you see Chris do a show from your basement?
Yeah, I don't have the right audio setup. Dave will go bonkers because I don't have sound deafeners in the basement. Although I do have a really cool new alcohol shelf. That's awesome.
Yes, I saw.
The Vikings this year, in the 3 games that were decided by where they placed in the division, lost all 3 of them. So in this sense, it did cost them a playoff spot, because if they just get one of them, they're in the playoffs. But then again, maybe the Packers end up, playing all their guys, which I'm going to be honest, I don't know how much that would have been impactful, because that team looked bad. Bad. But yeah, Real Forno show tomorrow. We're going to do our first mock draft tomorrow, so get ready.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Off season is here. Now we can do mock drafts and shit. So let's go. I will see you guys later.
Adios.
There's just one thing about those mock drafts. I'm not sure how many and which picks the Vikings have right now, because from simulator to simulator, from source to source, it varies between like 8 and 12, I think. Like
I can answer this quick.
The comp pick window is pretty set, but the conditions on
the third
different...
for Sam Darnold. That's for sure.
Yeah, so that's also the only one they're gonna get.
Yes, I can tell you right now what the picks are. As of September 10th, 2025, which the Vikings made no additions or subtractions from that point on. This is direct from the Vikings website, so you can take this as fact. They have their first round pick, their second round pick, their third round pick. They have a 5th rounder from Philly, a 6th rounder from the Colts, their 7th rounder, a 7th rounder from Houston, and a 7th rounder from Carolina. And when you look at those, it's going to be actually from those teams. So where those teams were projected to pick in those rounds, those will be the Vikings picks. The PFF simulator still has the Vikings with 12. That's not the case. They still have them with the Cam Robinson pick. They still have them with the Jaguars 7th from the Cam Robinson trade, which got voided out because of the playing time incentive. The simulators will catch up. I think it may take a little bit.
Ain't gonna matter, because we're trading a bunch of them for Joe Burrow, baby.
Could happen. We'll see.
All right, peace out, guys.
All right, get to work, Tyler. So, bunch of good conversation, and we'll have tons of it as we move forward. This has been a wild season.
How about that bust Dallas Turner, by the way? Boy, he looked terrible today. I can't believe the Vikings drafted him.
2 sacks. Led the team this season with 9. I was hoping he'd get the 10th, just so he could say he got double digits.
Hard to do that when the other team is handing the ball off all the time. So, yeah.
And that's being the backup. So...
No, I did really enthused to see where he goes in year number 3, because we're assuming Grenard and Van Ginkel are going to be back, which means they're going to have to parcel out the playing time a certain way. But Turner may be at the point where he's demanding more snaps than he did at the beginning of the season. Certainly looked that way the last 5-6 games of this year.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think, and I'm not saying they're going to shop him. I don't think so, but if the right offer comes around, I wouldn't be shocked if the Vikings trade Grenard at this point. And they are like, okay, our defense wasn't really much worse when Turner was there instead of Grenard. We definitely want to see him start next season, because it's going to be the 3rd year of his rookie contract. He's going to be not only extension eligible after that, but he's also gonna be the Vikings also gonna have to decide about his 5th year option after next season. So they definitely want to get a look on him, and therefore, like, if probably a contender who's looking to add to their pass rush, if they come around with a very good offer for Jonathan Grenard, who has a very manageable contract for somebody who would trade for him, I wouldn't be shocked about that. Just again, I don't think the Vikings gonna shop him. I don't think they're gonna actively pursue that. But if somebody is there and is like, okay, we're gonna give you that, and the Vikings are satisfied with that, yeah, I could see that.
I could see it. You better have a pretty good replacement for Grenard somehow, because two starting edge, if it's Turner and Van Ginkel, one of them gets hurt. Injuries happen all the time in the NFL. Then you're starting Bo Richter or Chaz Chambliss or Tyler Batty, and that ain't going to get it done. So
Yeah,
I like having the three guys there in Grenard. And maybe what you got back in a trade, like you said, you're speculating, could get you in a position to get another guy who can be that impact, a very good edge rusher to pair with Van Ginkel and Turner. But there's that. And I do want to address a couple of comments about me slobbering about Turner having a good game against the Green Bay junior varsity squad. How did he do against Detroit last week, which was not a junior varsity squad? Had his best game of his career. So I say the arrow's pointing up for Dallas Turner. And if you want to deny that, go right ahead. But we saw 5 or 6 good, really good games from him at the end of the season. Doesn't make for a full season, but it's a hell of a lot better than what we saw in his rookie year and at the beginning of the season. And I think that that's growth. And it makes sense because he was the best edge rusher in his class in 2024, according to just every draft booklet you ever read.
Let me get this in, and I don't have the numbers after this game, but I did it last week. If you put Dallas Turner's numbers of this season and translate them to the snap counts of Jonathan Grenard last year, and you kind of calculate Dallas Turner's numbers with that, his numbers would have been 12 sacks, 80 pressures. Grenard's numbers that season were 12 sacks, 84 pressures. So he almost would have matched that with that pace. Obviously, we don't know if he would have been able to do it with those snap counts, but just something to think about.
Gotcha. Now, I'm looking at the box score, see if we had anything stand out. Jordan Mason had 94 yards on 14 carries, 6.7 yards per carry. I thought he had a good game. Ty Chandler came in second with 10 carries for 23 yards, which was not so good, but okay. And then Xavier Scott third. When it came to receptions, Justin Jefferson led the crowd like he should. 8 receptions, 101 yards, 12.6 yards average. Jalen Naylor had 3 for 49. And now there was a beautiful pass to Naylor, a couple of them today. Then came Josh Oliver, 2 for 20.
Packers threw 11 passes today.
Huh?
Yep. And I think per PFF live tracking, the Vikings had 7 pressures on them.
That's They only threw for 34 yards. Wow.
And I think,
but at least it was a better passing performance than what the Vikings had last week with those -3 yards.
Yes.
it wasn't much better though when you got sacked 4 times.
I stand corrected. They held them to -7 yards net passing, so it actually was worse.
That's cool.
He's 6 for 11, 34 yards, but he lost 41 yards on sacks.
Wow. And then there was the run, the 19-yard tackle for loss on the run play. It was a thing of beauty.
But even with that, the Vikings surrendered 128 yards on the ground, although I think probably about 70% of that came on that last drive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Vikings offensively had a total yards of 363. Not too bad.
Yeah. all of these are taken with a few grains
Grain
of
of
salt,
salt.
considering who was in the lineup for the Packers or who wasn't. But you still got to play the game. I'm sure if Matt LaFleur had been given a choice to defer or cancel this game, he would have done it in a second. But you don't get that option in pro sports or any sport, really. So, he was just trying to get out of the game healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie says, can we afford Kyler Murray? Probably not, but the Cardinals might release Kyler Murray if they can't find a trade partner for him.
They almost certainly can if they want to. They have the money, they have the picks, they can. If they want to, they absolutely can.
Manipulate.
Like I'm not sure if the Vikings want to. I would probably say the likelihood that they are gonna be serious about that is less than 50%. But if they want, they can. They absolutely can afford him.
Yeah, there's always ways to manipulate the cap and extensions and few releases and that sort of thing. Although Murray has quite, I forgot how much guaranteed money he still has on the table. I don't know if it's all been used up already or what the thing is, but his salary cap hit is quite large.
I think it's very manageable. Of course, it's large, but it's very manageable. And the Vikings, since Murray has 3 years left, they could probably immediately restructure it. So that probably wouldn't be an issue too. And the Vikings also have other ways to
I just don't want a super short quarterback.
I just last week I just went through the ways that the Vikings can generate cap space and without gutting the roster too much and still having 70 million next year. The Vikings could release 3 guys, do 3 or 4 restructures, and extend Brian O'Neill while lowering his cap number and get up to 50 to 70 million pretty easily. So their cap situation is not nearly as bad as those minus 30 million make it look.
All right, gentlemen, I think it's time to call it a day, and we can continue celebrating our Vikings finishing 9-8 plus 500. 5-game win streak, and we can move into the offseason. Any last words there, Jonas?
Just that this
22.
Have a great send-off
for the Hitman. Darren, any last words?
No, sir. I've we got a full off season of Vikings content here on First and SKOL. So hopefully everybody who was in this chat and more come back for that starting tomorrow.
Yes. And as always, we say SKOL Vikings.
Indeed, SKOL Vikings.
Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And share this episode with your friends and even your enemies. We'd love it. Thanks for watching Vikings First and SKOL. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network, and we appreciate each and every one of you. SKOL.